Hello and welcome to Nutrition is the Key to Health. Are you one of the 75% at risk? You need to ask yourself that question. And here's what I'm going to talk to you about. So, that could mean a lot of things, right? Being at risk. But the one thing I'm going to talk to you about today is being overweight. And when I say overweight, I'm going to use overweight and obese, and they're just going to be interchangeably. Overweight is a certain percentage of a BMI. Obese is a higher percentage of that same BMI index. So, overweight and obese, anything over 25% is considered being overweight or obese. So, what is health really? I mean, what is it? If you were to go out and say, ask ChatGPT, like I just did, define health for me. And so it came back with a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or illness. Okay, so what does that mean? It just means not absent of disease or illness, but you have this overall physical, mental, and social, and I'm going to put spiritual in there as well, well-being. So you're kind of gelling, you're kind of really good in all those categories. Well, let's look at some numbers. And you're going, Alicia, where did you get these numbers? Because they all seem to be pretty high. Well, I'm talking about just Americans right now. And according to the CDC, and these are 2022 statistics, mind you. The CDC lacks in keeping their information up to date. They have it. I mean, this is the age of supercomputers, right? At the touch of the button, they can tell us in 60 seconds, it can go out and it can gather all the vital statistics needed for all of these things. So it can do all the diseases, being overweight or obese. It can do the top 10 leading causes of death. It can figure out how many suicides there were this year or currently. It can figure out how many self-harm. I mean, you can give it anything parameter you want to give it, and it can go out and grab those vital statistics on deaths and what was the cause of death. It can do it in less than probably 60 seconds. But the CDC does not publish those numbers to us in a timely manner. And I do not know why. They have the statistics right at their fingertips. But we're dealing with data that's 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6 years old. Typically, they'll update a cycle will be like every, say, 5 years, they'll go out and update their statistics. Occasionally, you'll get a FastStat update where you might find some information that is currently on, say, the top 10 leading causes of death. So they might release those mid-cycle. But everything else we have to wait for. And by the time it comes out, it's so far antiquated and wrong that, and that's probably my number one. If I had a bone to pick with the CDC, that would be my number one bone. It's like, what's going on? Do they not want us to know how unhealthy Americans are? Do they not want us to know the real state of health or lack of health in this country? Is that what it is? Are they pandering to big pharma and food groups, grains, beef, chicken, the poultry, Dairy industries, that's way above my pay grade. All I know is I went out and I looked on the CDC, and the stats for 2022 were, it was roughly a little over 74% of all adult, not even children, just adults. And this is ages, I believe it's either 18 or 20 is considered an adult with them. I'm not sure. I didn't dig that far in to the statistics. So all adult, 75%. That's 3 out of every 4 people. Get 4 people in a room, 3 of them are going to be overweight or obese. That's huge. It's mind-blowing. It's just mind-blowing. It's, when I saw that, you know, I was expecting it to be 50, maybe 60% on the high side. No, not at all. It was 75%. So if we take our population that's estimated currently in 2025, if we take that and we just don't break it down or don't try to move it across any of the age groups or the gender related groups or whatnot, and we say, okay, it's estimated right now, estimated. So they've crunched some numbers, and they're estimating our American population around 347 million, give or take, probably give. So 347 million. Take 75% of that, just 75% across the board. And you're looking at 260 million people are overweight or obese. And we're not even talking about the kids. You should do this. Maybe you don't have children. Maybe you don't know. Maybe you haven't been around a school, an elementary school, when the kids are getting out. Take a look at the waist circumferences on some of the kids. You know, back in the day, my day, when I was going to elementary, there weren't large kids. There were a few. They were the exception, not the rule. And I don't know their actual, you know, I don't know. It could have been, you know, maybe, and there are some factors that go into, you know, overweight. It's just not overeating or lack of exercise, or eating the wrong foods and lack of exercise. There are some comorbidities or cofactors that go into that. You can do a simple, you know, really it boils down to whether you're going to gain weight or lose weight. It boils to input versus output. Now you're saying, Alicia, hey, that's a very simplistic equation. Yes, it is. And there's some other things that are involved, like you can look at lineage, you can look at certain conditions, you can look at predisposition, you can look at the type of diet, you can look at a lot of different things, whether the meals are zoned, whether they're not zoned, whether they're eating proper nutrients or whatnot. But just boiling it down to the basics, like getting back to the basics, input versus output. Well, we already know we eat too much as Americans. And what are we eating? We're eating highly processed, high fat, high sodium, high sugar, high caffeinated drinks, sodas, diet drinks. We're eating that stuff. That is our diet for the most part. Gone are the days, for the most part, that people eat healthy and they stick to vegetables, fresh fruits, and lean proteins with grains. Gone are those days. They're just not here. Our whole lifestyle, I'm going to call it a lifestyle creep, because we have chose convenience over health. And I'm going to tell you right now, convenience kills. Flat out, it kills. The saturated fats, the highly processed foods, the high fat content, the drive-thrus, the restaurants, convenience kills. And not only are we paying a lot for that food, now we are sitting on our couches and ordering it in via an app on our phone, DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, you name it, right? We don't even get in our car and go get it. We just get on an app and have it delivered. So not only are we paying 2 and 3x the price of what we were 2 years ago for a combo meal, let's just say McDonald's. I'm going to pick on McDonald's. For a combo meal used to be around $5. Now it's around depending on where you live, it's around $13 to $15 is an average price of a combo meal in McDonald's. And then now they've started doing a thing where if you want condiments, you're going to have to pay for that. So they want to upcharge you on the drink, upcharge you on the French fries and the size of the meal, but they don't want to give you the condiments to go with you. No, you're going to have to pay for this. We can only give you one ketchup. We can only give you one ranch. You're going to have to pay for anything else. This is the world we're living in today. And so let's get back to the 75% at risk. What's risky about being overweight? What is? Let's think about it. So we already know that the top 10 leading causes of death, right? And I've done this in another video, so you can go check out that video. But basically the top 10 leading causes of death, and I'm going to try to list them if I can remember them in the order. So it's heart, number 1, cancer, number 2, accidents, number 3. This does not include self-harm or suicide. COVID. Now, here we go again. These are older stats, 2021, 22. COVID may have come down. I'm sure it has. And other things may have surpassed it. So these are 2021 or 22 stats. After COVID, there's stroke. You have, I'm just going to say diabetes. No, chronic lower respiratory disease. And that can be anything from asthma to COPD. Then you have things like diabetes, kidney disease, and liver disease. So those are your top leading causes of death. So we already know that being overweight is a comorbidity of all those diseases, right? You have extra weight on you, you're not getting the exercise, and you're not eating healthy, well, you're going to have a higher possibility of all those diseases. And 3 of those diseases kill over 51% of the people in the United States every single year. Every single year, the amount of deaths, 51% of the amount of people that die from those 10 diseases come in the form of 3. Just 3 diseases. And so you have obesity that feeds in to high blood pressure. It feeds in to heart disease. It feeds into cancer. It feeds into kidney disease. It feeds into diabetes. And we have this hamster wheel. And we're on this hamster wheel of this highly processed food, not eating right, because why? We choose convenience. And it's costing us. And I want you to go look at my video when I put it up on the true cost of being overweight. You think it's just being overweight, and you think it's just your health. But actually, over the course of your adult life, being overweight can cost you millions of dollars. And I want you to go check that out. Because, and if you're overweight, you understand what I'm talking about. Go check it out. That was actually mind-boggling also, when you're talking about, the things that being overweight costs you, other than just your health. It costs you big bucks. Big bucks. Now, let's get back to the children. So when I was growing up, we went outside. We were running till it got dark in the neighborhood. All the kids, right? We were active. We had PE classes in all of our levels of school. We were required to take that. We were required that exercise period. I don't know that that's the case now. I don't know if they're requiring PE. So we have our kids, and what do? We give them cell phones, iPads, tablets, whatever you want to do, computers, laptops, and we give them video games. Why? Because it's an instant babysitter. And so what do? They go to their room and they sit. And they're on video games, they're on their computers, they're on social media. They're not doing anything. So they're not going outside. They're not socializing. They're doing it all online in an isolated form. So they're not getting the exercise we got. So I'm on a journey, and I'm trying to get my life back after some pretty difficult health conditions that I've had to navigate recently. And I can tell you this, I was thin, all the way up until 40-ish. But then I was always a very active person. My jobs were very active. I always worked out heavy. Like I rode bikes and I ran and I lifted weights and various things. Kids now, they don't get off the couch. They're watching TV, they're on video games, you might have them in a soccer league or a baseball league or whatnot, and for those parents, congratulations, but that's not the only thing that needs to happen. I mean, kids need to exercise daily. So if you take a child now, and children are already overweight, there are children that are obese, a body index over 40%. What do you think they're gonna, if their course isn't changed, what do you think's gonna happen to them before they get to 40? I didn't even start gaining till I was 40. I had some periods in there where I peaked and I got heavy due to certain medications I was having to take and ingest on a daily basis. So those medications, one of the side effects was a lot of weight gain. But as soon as I stopped the drug, that went away. So it was a medication-induced weight gain. What do you think these kids that are now being put on blood pressure medication in grade school. Yes, it's a thing. It's not going to be a good outcome for them or their families. We're going to start losing kids to heart attacks, strokes, cancer at very early ages. And I'm talking in the 20s and in the 30s, where maybe someone older, like in my generation, we're finding that out in the 50s and 60s and 70s. Those kids are going to start their disease process so early that everything's going to shift, and it's going to go back decades. And so they're going to start having issues at 20 and 30 and 40, and their lifespans are going to be actually cut. So this is huge, and we're not seeing this. We're just on that hamster wheel, getting through day by day. We're just going. And none of this is going to end well. We have got to change our way of looking at this, and we've got to try to take steps, one in front of the other, to where we can start eating healthier, whatever that might look like. But we have to start decreasing the junk and the fast food, the sodas, the high energy drinks, the coffee, the alcohol, the vaping, the smoking. Those all lead to horrible outcomes. Horrible. So are you one of the 75% at risk? Are you one of the 260 million people in the United States? And if we looked, I'm sure that this kind of correlates or is probably transferable to other countries now that the Western diet has really gotten a stronghold in all the other countries. So I'm sure they are starting to see similar stats of heart disease, cancer, stroke, diabetes, because it all comes from the highly processed food and the sedentary lifestyle. So if you're one of the 75%, I'm sorry, but it's not too late. You can do something about it. Welcome to my channel. I hope you'll take my journey with me. I am on I'm on a road to try and take my life back after a cancer diagnosis, stage 3, congestive heart failure. I've had some issues with my heart, some surgeries. Now I'm having other issues, and one feeds the other. And so, yes, I'm 61. And if I could have looked back and told my 20-year-old self what my 60-year-old self was going to look like, I hope things would be a whole lot different than they are right now, because I would have changed the way I ate, and I would not have depended on fast food. So, until next time.